Greetings, land of the brave and beyond, and welcome to today's Cabinet Committee briefing session on this cool Wednesday morning, the 8th of November 2023. We are coming to you live and direct from the Government Information Center studios in the heart of the capital city, Windhoek. Now, Namibia, if you are watching for the first time, this is a platform that is initiated by the Government of the Republic of Namibia to serve as conduit for transmitting information on government projects, programs, policy formulations, and advancement within the respective OMAs, which is offices, ministries, and agencies of government. I am your host, Heleni Felepo Samunyela, for this morning, and I'm honored and delighted to introduce to you the Minister of Urban and Rural Development, Honorable Erastus Utoni, to present to the Namibian nation his ministerial update. Good morning, Honorable Minister, and welcome to the Government Information Center. You may take the podium.
Thank you very much for having me here.
You may take the podium, Honorable.
Oh, I have to come here.
Yes.
It's like I'm addressing. Okay. Thank you very much for having me here this morning to share some information with members of the public when it comes to the programs of the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development, more particularly on the housing issues, because the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development is mandated to do a number of things. Probably number one is housing. We also have to deal with traditional authorities. Yeah, just to mention a few. Yeah, but today I would want to talk much on the housing issue. I would want to talk much on the housing issue. And as we all know, that housing in Namibia is one of the issues that majority of the citizens want to have shelter over their, above their head. So that is the most focus that I would want to talk about. But of course, I will be adding some other things there. If I may proceed. Now, when you talk about housing challenge in Namibia, you need to have some mechanism how you should go it about. And what is that mechanism that the ministry can do? We have organized ourselves in a ministry as a team to come up with what we call a housing policy or a national housing policy. That is the guiding tool that will help us to move and to see whether the steps that we are taking are really benefiting the society, the Namibian people. Yes, the policy that I'm talking about is the policy that which has been established for some years back now. It has been revised. I would say the first one was 1991, then was revised 2009. But what we see still with that policy, challenges are still going up. This year, we have again reorganized ourselves to again review the policy. We then engage the stakeholders to make their input as to what is that we can then solve this problem of housing in Namibia. So because the policy in the past years was looking more on the government focus, contractor-led delivery of housing units. That was the policy that the government should do that. But now we have realized that I think we need to shift from there. The approach that we are taking now is to do an incrementally enabling adequate housing for the larger majority by providing housing opportunities, land tenure security, and basic service. We think with that strategy, it's going to help everybody, because when you talk about incremental, you are talking about the involvement now of each and every individual. People have now to build step by step their houses, step by step, until they have their houses. That is what we are looking at. And now, we are saying, how do we do it? So, the goals to be achieved through this policy is one, a special focus on nationwide upgrading of informal settlement and proactive incremental land savings or servicing to enable a diversified array of housing provisions mechanism to occur. And then we are also talking about the establishment of a structured housing subsidies framework which focuses public expenditure towards the lowest income groups, where the human development impact and the multiplier effects are most effective. So we are saying further that we really need to prioritize and redistribute of state resources towards the lowest income group of the society. That is where we are trying to focus our strategy now. And then, of course, to enhance partnership and collaboration between government, OMAS, the private sector, civil society, organizations, academia, and resident community, as well as other stakeholders who wants to join the program of housing in Namibia. So this is what we want to do. And then we are saying the development of required capacity and more inclusive angel structures mechanism to ensure effective implementation, monitoring, evaluation. So now in the past years, there has not been those mechanisms in terms of implementation action plan and monitoring. Now we want to focus on how do we implement it and what is the implementation plan. Now we have to divide ourselves, in a period of 5 years. That okay, year one, during the financial year one, what have you achieved? Second financial year, what have you achieved? Based on the allocation that is given. So that is what we want to look at, and we are going to put some groups or teams that will monitor and then carry out those implementation actions. Now, the policy, because this policy I'm talking about is just focusing on housing. The policy provides for housing provision mechanism that cater for the different households' needs, the issue of affordability levels, and alternative housing choices at all socioeconomic levels. This housing provision mechanism and interventions. So what are then the intervention and what are those provisions mechanisms? So we are talking about community-led housing. That is the most important thing. Because if the community are involved themselves, like what is happening now with the Shared Dwellers Federation, it's so quick and people appreciate that this is what we have done for ourselves, and they build houses so quick. We are also focusing on the credit-linked housing These are the type of mortgage finances where people who are the working people, who can then borrow money and then build their houses. That we should also focus on that one. Then we are talking about the inclusionary housing across subsidies. And then we talk about rental housing, so that we also maybe need to build some houses where people can rent, because some people are not able to buy the house, but rental houses. That is also one of the issue, the mechanism that we are looking at. That is the private housing and then the private or public rental. Then also, the other mechanism that we want to focus on is rent-to-own housing. So now, let's say government build houses or private sector build houses, but now you then have to, you take up that house, instead of paying the fixed amount of purchasing the house, you just rent. And then through that process, you are renting. And then at the end of the day, when you reach an amount that is required by the owner, then the house will then be transferred into your name. So, and then also we are talking about rural housing. Yeah, so these are some of the mechanisms that we are employing to ensure that at least by year 2028, we'll be able to say that at least we have done something. Now, what are the expected impacts? We are saying at least 60% of the existing informal settlement will be formalized. That is what we are focusing on, and that is what we want to see. You know Windhoek, for example. There are a lot of informal settlements. And now when we are talking about 60%, it's not only Windhoek. We are talking about the informal settlement countrywide. And that is the expected impact that we want to see, all of us. And we are saying an estimated of 347,000 plots be delivered within a period of 5 years. That is from 2024, the 2024, 2028. And that is our focus. But this requires the efforts of everyone, because the tendency sometimes is people are only thinking that government alone do it. You can't achieve all this alone. So we are trying to mobilize and sensitize each and everyone to be part and parcel of this program. And we are saying over 221,000 projected new houses and housing opportunities for the period of houses, at least, will be delivered. So this is what we are looking at. And you are asking also, the question might be, we are looking at a number of issues that prompted for the revision of housing. I have mentioned some, but I still have to touch on that. So we are looking at the rapid urbanization and migration. Seriously, that issue of rapid migration, it's heavy on us. And rapid urbanization and migration. People are just coming from all different regions of the country. They come here looking for green patches, and they are here now, and they are expected, the municipality, for example, or other town, to provide them with services. So this is what prompted us to review our policy. That's one. So we are also talking about informal urban development. This, we also want to look at it very seriously. High rates of poverty and inequality. This also made us to do the revision. And we also look at the shortage of service urban land and supporting physical infrastructures. And that is what also we are looking at. And that is what makes us to review the policy. Just to mention a few. And we are also trying to look at lack of legal coherence. Maybe some of the legal issues are also giving us some kind of challenges here and there, and we also want to look at that. So the partnership, local innovation, and a policy reform, as I'm just talking about. So we are looking at more on the innovation. And the focus now, more the focus of this policy. We have divided our people into groups or into categories, because we are looking at that those people that we refer to it as ultra low group of the society, the people who just do not earn anything, end of the month. And this person, you just, even if you want this person to buy a house, it's just difficult. And we are also now trying to focus on the low-income group of the society. Because the ultra-low-income group of the people, the society, amongst them, there are those people who might be found in the streets. And you want them to also have a shelter above their head. But now you ask yourself, now if I build a house for this person who does not have an income, how is this person going to contribute to the service delivered to him or her in terms of water supply, electricity? So that, we are also focusing on that seriously as a government. And hence we are talking about quality. That is one of them. Of course, the middle income group of the society, we are also focusing on that. Hence, we are saying we need some more additional funds to do more with what we want to achieve. So the guiding principles of the housing policy that we are talking about, because it's a policy that guides us. Now, what are those guiding principles? We are saying right to adequate housing, housing as an enabler of social and economic empowerment, that is one. The inclusive and sustainable urbanization, responsibility for global climate action and social equity. Then we are also talking about incremental approaches, and this is what I've already mentioned. The targeted impact, transparency and accountability, differentiated housing options. So we are trying to look at different options of housings. Meaningful citizen participation, that is the public ownership and the partnership approach, and I've mentioned that one again. So there are a number of issues that we are looking at. So one of them is let me just go to the strategies. How do we do it again? That is now strengthen Namibia housing information system. Now, this information system, the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development have an MOU, that is an agreement with Namibia Statistic Agency. This MOU, it provides platforms where NSC would then provide information on the website to tell members of the public that, okay, in town A, there are so much serviced plots. Now, if you want to go to that town A, you know exactly how many plots, it be residential, it be business, are serviced there. And you can also tell that, okay, there are also houses, plots that can only be taken up by the low-income group of the society. So this is one of the strategies that we are looking at. And then strengthen comprehensive planning for housing at local level. That is what we want to do. A mainstream participatory informal settlement upgrade. I think some of you have been following since the year 2021, the informal settlement upgrade. We have innovated to come up with a project in Windhoek. A person has got a corrugated iron house, and this person cannot put up a mortar, let me say a brick house. And it was so difficult for them to approach financial institutions. And then we said, why can't we just go in there and then ask them and if they can then borrow money from the city of Windhoek, and then they pay on monthly basis, and then we build a house for them. So this is what is happening in Windhoek. And it's good if we can visit there. And there are a number of many houses that we built through this program. So that is the strategy that we also want to look at. And the strategy is also to prioritize the target groups, as I've already mentioned, the subsidy types, and that is also one of the strategies that we are looking at. So the other strategy is to strengthen the Build Together or decentralized Build Together program. That is also very, very important, because once you service land in a given local authorities, now you ask your community members, build your house on your own. That is what we refer to it, Build Together. The community-led housing support, as Sheikh Dwellers is doing, as I mentioned that one already. National Housing Enterprise, we also want NHE to be part and parcel of that more heavily, and also to innovate, not only to look at the type of houses that they are building, but also to innovate, to come down to the level of the low-income group of the society. And then we are saying government employees render housing, that these houses can be built for the government employees, because some people just came from their original place and they are employed here, or in Swakopmund or Khobabis, and their intention is not to permanently staying there. But now if you build houses there for rental, a person can then rent there. And then once maybe a person retires, goes back to his or her original place. So, and then we are also focusing on the rural housing support. That is one of the strategies that we are looking at. So that is more on the housing issues that we are focusing on. And of course, government as the biggest financier, they are also looking forward to see how they can now also provide some more funds to make this policy working. This is very, very important. And we are thinking maybe by this financial year, 2024, maybe government can give us something like 750 million, and then we start with the program. And it goes, and it goes. Then we'll be able to achieve what we want to achieve. Yes, not only on housing, the Minister of Urban and Rural Development, I was just talking about the legal issues that are also giving some challenges, more especially to regional and local authorities to implement what is expected from them by the citizens. We have the Local Authority Act, Act 23 of 1992. Yeah, now we came across a number of challenges through those provisions, some of the provision in the Act. The ministry is now busy amending this Act. It has been done through a consultative engagement with various stakeholders, first with the local authorities, OMAs, private sectors, and so on. The local authority as well as regional council made input towards those acts. So very soon, this act will be then tabled to cabinet for the decision, and then later will then be proceeded to the National Assembly. For members of the National Assembly, then also to make their input, and then once it's done, we'll then have those bill amended. So that is that we are busy with. I have only mentioned few, not everything that the Minister of Urban Rural Development is doing. Of course, we have traditional authorities that we are also dealing with, but now today I wanted to focus more on those. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for that very comprehensive update on the happenings, projects, programs, policy formulation and advancement within your respective ministry, and for just taking time away from your busy schedule to come and update the Namibian nation. It's very highly appreciated. Now this is the chance to the media. If you perhaps have questions that you'd like to pose to the Honorable Minister. You don't have questions? Okay, so in the absence of questions from the media, unfortunately, Namibia, that is all the time we had for today's discussion. Until next time, please follow us on our social media platforms and be part of our family here at MICT and the Government Information Center, to be specific. From myself, Hileni Felepo Samunyela, and the entire GIC crew, until next time, take care, Namibia.